Like a fiery comet soaring through the sky, Godhood is coming in red hot. Because it is time for Godhood's very first milestone update. I am Rick. I am here with a bunch of other monks because we just launched said milestone update called Create Your Own Religion. And it's called that for a very good reason, because with this update, we have introduced a bunch of new features, done a whole lot of rebalancing, overhauling, and adding new buildings, content, story events in order to make you truly create your own religion. Tonight, while the update has just launched, I'm going to be playing a little bit of Godhood Create Your Own Religion right here with you. Hi Marta, new monks coming in for moral support and bug fixing. If during the stream you are watching and you either are an ardent fan of Godhood or you've never played before, if you have any questions, just post them in the chat on Steam, on Twitch, or on YouTube, wherever you're watching, and we'll get to it. But for now, what I'm going to be doing is playing the new update and talking about all the new stuff that we've added, or at least however much I can get into, because it's a lot. Hey, this is new. What kind of god are you? More in-depth difficulty modes. That's one of the first things we wanted to add. If you want a challenge, you can go for the ambitious mode. But if you feel like chillin', listening to Godhood's sweet, serene tunes, and just sort of being a relaxing god, you can go for a serene mode. And the reason that we introduced difficulty modes is because the game has gotten a lot more challenging than the previous time you've played, probably. And why that is, we'll get into while we play. I'm going to play ambitious mode. It means that I can lose the game if I perform badly. If you play serene, you can't really lose the game. You can kind of keep playing however you do. And I'm going to go for... Rutger, what do you think? Should I go for classic difficulty or normal difficulty?
Gamer.
I'm a hardcore gamer, says Rutger. I definitely am. I have definitely never lost horribly on stream before. I'm gonna go with classic difficulty. So what that difficulty does, as you can see in the text down here, it determines the amount of crystal skulls you start with, as well as the power levels of enemy disciples. Now, what are crystal skulls? We'll get into that in a second, after we create our god. Now this hasn't changed all that much, except we have added a bunch of new customization options for your god, ever expanding. If you want to be some kind of sheep jellyfish, you can now be a sheep jellyfish. I know you want to. I've heard you talk about it. What am I gonna be? If the chat has any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. An elephant man? Have I done an elephant man before? I kind of like the idea of being a chameleon. Skeletal chameleon, maybe. I personally am a big fan of the archery sexy chameleon. Sexy chameleon, but then I'm gonna have to play lust. I like these wiggly arms. Alright, bones, not so sexy. I'm gonna go for a fish. I'm gonna be an ugly fish chameleon. So, this is pretty sexy though. So I'm gonna go with that. Cool wings. Ah no, we need a chameleon's tail. And we have some new hats as well. I like this. Big punk chameleon. Well, we're chameleons, so we gotta be green. And something purpley. This is good. This is sexy. Let's see, how should we address you? I'm gonna be... I'm gonna be... I can't think of any chameleon puns off the top of my head. So I'm just gonna be chameleon for now. Actually, I'll just be the sexy chameleon. My religion will be called... maybe something about hiding. I'm a chameleon, so... the hidden god of the hidden ways. And my worshippers are called... are called... lizards? I don't know. This isn't the best religion I've ever made on stream. But, you know, I've done this a lot. I'm gonna be a god. My style is gonna be light. If you don't know what that means, if this is the first time you're seeing Godhood, I highly recommend watching some of our earlier streams. But basically, know that I'm creating my god and my religion here. And let's take a look at our first really cool new thing, which is a thing we call religious developments. One of the pieces of feedback we got a lot on Godhood is that people wanted more religious customization and have more control over what their religion looks like. And we agreed, which is why we started building religious developments. And what these are, I'll actually go over here on the stream for a second, just to show one off. These are sort of tech trees, almost, of how your religion develops. So here we're looking at an example of the war religious development tree, starting at the very top with the war commandments. Every commandment is going to get a unique tree like this one. And what is especially cool about these is that every single commandment you get, for example, if I choose to give in to savagery, I'm going to get unique bonuses, new items. I'm going to unlock new buildings and things for my disciples to do and equip. So that's really cool. So depending on what you pick here, your religion's going to look different and you're going to unlock a bunch of cool new stuff. I like, Game is saying that my god is perpetually doing the wave, which is true with the wiggly arms. They're my favorite new arms. We just added those. Some other examples are, like, if you pick the peace commandment, you're going to get a whole new tree. And what's fun about these trees is in between some of these developments, as you can see, is a red exclamation mark. And what that means is you can only pick one of those two developments, and it locks out all the options that development gives you from that point on. So if I'm going to play a peace religion, like here, I'm not going to be able to explore the entire tree. I'm not going to be able to create just any peace religion. I'm going to have to develop my own peace religion. So if I choose to develop reasoning, I'm not going to be able to pursue altruism in that playthrough. So even if you pick the war commandments, if you choose to be valorous or savage, it's going to be very different for you. Let's go back. I'm going to pick my commandment. I'm going to go with madness, I think, because it's the newest one. We added that in our previous update. So I'm going to pick madness as my virtue. Let's get started, and we'll take a look at the madness tree as well. But first, the intro. Now, one of our goals for the update was to increase the amount of religious customization and really allow you to express your own religion. But we also had as a big goal to give you more options and also to give you more strategic choice. And to start with that, we had to also introduce more challenge. Oh, I'm actually skipping the intro here. That's fine. We've seen that intro so many times. So yeah, more challenge. And one of the ways in which in which Godhood is more challenging now than ever before is through the the crystal skull mechanic. Crystal skulls are a new resource. As you can see at the very top left here, I have 6 currently. And every time you do a sacrament, you sacrifice a single crystal skull. So after 6 sacraments, I'll have gone through all my crystal skulls. And if you ever have 0 crystal skulls and you lose one of the sacraments, your religion fades and you lose the game. Luckily, there are ways to gain new crystal skulls, and so buy yourself essentially more time. And let's see if we can get that, shall we? To start, our new playthrough, I'm going to start by picking my first religious development, like I was talking about before. At the top right here, we have a new button. And here is the Madness tree. Let me move my face. The Madness development tree. Now, I could either go for the Pact of Secrecy or to embrace chaos. That's my first choice here as a Madness god. I'm really curious if the chat, if you have any ideas which one you think the sexy chameleon should go for. Is it the Pact of Secrecy or embracing chaos? I kind of like secrecy because I am a chameleon. And they're all about hiding in plain sight. So, like I mentioned before, each of these things will give you unique bonuses and benefits. So secrecy here says that secretive disciples will be recruitable when using Recruit New Disciples. So this is going to add a new kind of disciple to my possible roster, namely the secretive disciple. Whereas if I embrace chaos, it's going to add chaotic disciples to my roster of recruitable disciples. Pretty cool stuff. Basically, everybody here is saying to embrace chaos in the chat. I've got one person saying secrecy, but I'll go with the masses and I'm going to embrace chaos. This sexy chameleon is running wild. I'm going to press the button to set development, and as you can see below that, I'm going to require 100 lizards or worshippers in order to actually achieve that development. So that's how I progress my religion. So I'm going to embrace chaos. And we're working on that now. So as you can see in the top right here, if I get another 90 worshippers, we'll be ready to embrace chaos and develop our religion here. I'm going to start by inspiring one of my disciples to gather some lizards, because I want those to embrace chaos. I'm going to press next a couple of times. So, another thing we've done in lieu of giving you more options, making the game more difficult and strategic, is we have completely overhauled the game's economy. All the buildings, upgrades, resources have all had a fresh look and been completely overhauled to make the game give you more difficult decisions and also, you know, just give you more options and choices. One of those things is that every day your worshippers, the little people walking around your little holy site, will passively generate resources for you. So in the past you would have to assign your disciples to collect resources. Now your worshippers will passively collect them for you, but if you choose to tell one of your disciples to help with collection, they're going to add a big chunk of that resource to your tribute, and thus you will be earning the resource a lot faster. But as you'll see in, you know, when we keep playing, there's many other things I would like my disciples to do instead of gathering resources, so it's going to be a tough choice. Now, at the start of the game here, we don't have a lot of places to go. We have completely redesigned the world map, so none of this is going to be recognizable for previous players of Godhood. I have a couple of islands to get to here, but first I want to defeat the elders over here. And as you can see, if I defeat them, I will gain a bunch of new crystal skulls. So before they run out, I want to get over there. If I defeat the upcoming encounter, my god level will go up. That no longer goes up on your worshippers. It instead goes, your worshippers allow you to create new religious developments. I will also get some materials and the ability to construct new buildings. So, in the spirit of making Godhood more strategic, we also wanted to shake up the Sacrament a little bit and give you more control over how the Sacrament plays out. And one of the big ways that we've done that is by introducing some new rules to the Sacrament. For one, each disciple, each character, will only attack the character that is directly opposite them. So I know that if I put Akola, my powerful cultist here, they will always be attacking the godless across from them. Unless, if your disciple has a high enough knowledge stat which Akala is pretty knowledgeable, there is actually a chance that that disciple will instead attack the ideal target for their attacks. So it's pretty neat. Basically, you can boost someone's knowledge to sort of have your disciple act more favorably, or you can assume that they'll always be attacking whoever is across from them, and in that way I could, for instance, take advantage of an opponent's weakness, or put a tank up against a really powerful opponent so that he can tank his damage. Also down here we now show you what kind of odds a battle has. The game says possible conversion of these non-believers seems likely. I'm gonna believe the game for now, and we'll see how it goes. There we go. We sacrificed one of our crystal skulls for the upcoming Sacrament. Akala with their Unchain ability. If you haven't played the Madness development yet, or the Madness commandment yet, from our previous update, I highly recommend it. It's really fun. So, if you've played Godhood a bunch, you're going to be noticing that the Sacrament looks a little different. Instead of teams acting one after the other, so first my team, then their team, now all disciples will act basically according to their own cunning stats. So what this means actually is that the Sacrament has become a bunch more interesting, because high cunning disciples are actually a lot more useful now, because they can act before the enemy can act and things like that. Let's see, I've got my first level up here. Kim, whose totem is the crow, a very high knowledge buff. That's good. Maybe that way they can target their targets more effectively. I could make Kim either a cultist or a druid. Seeing as I already have a cultist in Akala, I think Kim would make a pretty good druid. And it should be said also that we have added, as we do with every update, a bunch of new customization options as well for your cultists. I'm gonna customize Kim real quick here. First of all, I'm gonna take off some of those warts. This looks pretty cool. I like that for like a chameleon style character. Just some face paint. I like this one. And we added some weird new eye types. If you're playing a Madness God. There's Kim. Can I change their hair color to be green? Yeah, Kim looks awesome. Kim the Druid. Thanks Spawn for wishing us good luck. There we go, we've converted a bunch of new lizards, but we still need another 50 for us to get our development. To embrace chaos, I believe. But we do go level up. Which is neat. We added a bunch of new stuff to your village to make it look a little nicer. For example, if you play a Madness commandment, you will notice that there's little tentacles growing everywhere and special unique buildings that your villagers built. I'm gonna recruit some disciples. Recruitment has also been completely overhauled, essentially. For one, you will notice that to recruit characters, I now need to spend offerings. In the past, you would have to spend worship or support, which is a resource we've gotten rid of. Instead, you use your offerings to recruit new disciples, and the more powerful they are, the more expensive they are to buy. Having more disciples is really useful, and I've got 2 slots open, so I think I'm going to initiate both of these disciples, Elo the dog and Alan the crow. They look like they could be useful. New initiates for my religion. Alright, I'm gonna be assigning some people. Actually, first, let's use up the 50 materials I got. Construct our first miracle. We're gonna want one for Kim. I think I will be building the storyteller, which increases a disciple's charisma. It's really useful for my charismatic bunch. We have introduced some quality of life UI things. The way that you inspire disciples has been simplified a little bit, the UI at least. Kim. And we have added new boost rituals. Again, in lieu of adding strategy and more choices for you. Every one of your miracle buildings, for example, the storyteller here, now allows you to, in addition to performing the miracle there, thus leveling up your disciple, you can now also permanently increase a single stat. So the storyteller allows me to send Kim over, spend 50 offerings, and permanently increase Kim's charisma by 1. But what's interesting about that is every time I send my disciple there again, the cost is going to increase. And what this does is it allows you to level up your disciples in a lot more specific ways than you could before, because I can choose to specifically boost Kim's charisma, for example. For now, I'm just going to tell her to perform the miracle, which, as you can see, is going to take 4 days to complete. So it's going to take a while. So I'm not going to be able to do anything else for now, because I only have one inspire slot. I can only inspire a single disciple to do anything currently. So we're just going to watch Kim tell stories and hopefully become a lot more powerful. Very nice. My people are excited to go out on the Sacrament, as you can see. Let me move my face. My people are excited to go out on the Sacrament, and so I think I'm going to do that. However, Kim is still busy telling stories, so maybe it's time for my newcomers to come in, both of which now have a new buff called Young. This disciple gains an extra 2 XP from Sacraments. Again, there's just a lot of little new mechanics and things in the game that you can use to optimize your strategy and play the game as well as you can. And I will say the harder difficulties get really tough near the end, so you're really going to have to use those new options. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to send Akula in. And 2 of my new young apprentices. Actually, Alim, how about you go? It's going to be challenging, according to the game. Let's see how we do. So I put Akala here because this Weaver is their most powerful, the most powerful opponent that I'm going to be facing. So I want my most powerful disciple to be facing them, blocking their attacks and so forth. Let's see how we do here. Akala unchaining her allies. Oh, the Words of Madness was blocked by their Weaver. That's too bad. Oh boy. Nice, critical hit. Good job, Alim. Oh god, the fight again. This is terrible. I hope I can make it through this. Nice critical hits. This is going to be very close. Nice, good defy. Alim is really pulling her weight here. God, the fight again. This... Oh, come on. Whew. We won that one. Nice. NECA has leveled up. We've got a question here from Kame Ama Angole, I hope I pronounced that right, asking can we make saints? I'll show you another new system in a little bit. First let me got knowledge up. I'm going to make another cultist, I think. So another new system that we added to the game in order to allow you to really create your own religion is a thing we call religious tenets. And they are sort of like a commandment. Go level up here. So a little bit like the madness commandment I picked before, I can actually gain a tenet called funeral rites. And if I pick up funeral rites as a tenet, it means that my religion, for my religion, it's really important when someone dies and we prepare their funeral. And depending on how you progress through that tree, you could either end up every time that one of your disciples dies, burying them with like, you know, in a nice burial chamber, and you know, that sort of makes them into a saint, I think. I think that kind of satisfies that fantasy. You could also go for cannibalizing and eat your disciples when they die of old age, which is a little bit less like what you want probably, but a fun choice nonetheless. Nice, Kim leveled up from performing the story miracle. Learn a new ability. Good stuff, Kim. We've unlocked some new buildings to build, including the material gatherer, where I can send my people to gather materials. Who would have thunk? I also gained a new inspiration slot, so I can now inspire 2 people. Another new thing is that previously your disciples would only gain experience by going to battle in the Sacrament. They now also gain XP by gathering resources and doing tasks around your village. So I'm gonna tell my young ones, Elo and Alim here, to go gather some materials and some worshippers for me, some lizards. And they'll gain a little bit of XP in the process. Ooh, we got a prayer coming in from Neka. Sexy chameleon, please, I want to be part of the Sacrament. So, Neka here praying to me to be in this next Sacrament. I'll have to see if I take her along. Or him along, actually. Alright. Elo and Alim gathered a bunch of resources, and we are ready to head out again. My people are excited for the Sacrament. Let's see what we can do. We can either go to the right here for a more difficult encounter, but we'll earn some crystal skulls, and I'll have 4 now, so I have a couple to go. Or we can go to the left here, fight a little bit easier challenge for some more materials. Let's see if I can do this one. This is really good. So, as you can see, Neka wants to be in the Sacrament, so... And, this godless here is a beast walker. They are a nature class, and in the rock, paper, scissors of godhood, nature is weak against dark. And it just so happens that the cultist, Akala here, is a dark class. So I'm gonna put Akala across from this godless beast walker, and hopefully it's gonna make it so that I'm gonna get a bunch of big hits in with Akala's babble and words of madness attacks. I think I can do this. Should I send... I'm gonna send Alim in, one of my newbies. Newbies, because they're young, they gain more XP from battles for a certain amount of time. So while they're young, I should try and capitalize on that and send them into combat. However, I did just notice that the odds went from possible to challenging. So, am I gonna take that risk? I don't think I'm gonna take that risk for now. I'm gonna go with Kim, who is a lot stronger than Alim. Unchain your power. It's a lot of unchains happening. Nice Unchained Madness. With Unchained Madness, even my weak druid can throw out some powerful melee attacks. And there's that effective hit from Akola. That was easy. It was nothing. I really like Kim's look here. She looks terrifying. Leord is calling me a wuss for not bringing along my my inexperienced acolyte. You know, I have lost games on stream before. I'm gonna take it easy here. yeah, sacrament preparation. The preparation, there's a lot more ways to prepare for your next sacrament using the new buildings we've added, and they're a lot more important also. They're a lot better. And this story here is going to allow my disciples to build the first sacrament preparation ritual for free. So I can pick to build a physical defenses ritual or a morale defenses ritual. My morale defense are pretty good because I have druids and cultists, and they're pretty powerful on morale defense. So I'm gonna get some physical defense up. Hey, we got a new development. Got enough lizards for that. And here we are. We have completed our first religious development. Embrace chaos. The chaos in us hungers for the end of order. Alright, that's intense. New village activity unlocked. When this shows up, it means that your villagers will start doing new stuff around the village. And we've unlocked a new initiate type. So when I recruit disciples, I can now also recruit chaotic disciples. That's fun. And we've gone level up. Level 4. Cool, so we've got the symbol of mental and physical fortitude, which allows us to prepare our disciples for the upcoming conflict, and the offerings stockpile, where we can gather ritual offerings to spend on new disciples and such, so that's nice. Let's start by building that free building that I got, the symbol of physical fortitude, which allows me to get some physical defenses. I'm gonna put it over here. A little out of the way. Okay, Nekka wants to do a miracle, so maybe I'll do that. And let me first set my new religion's development. So now that I've gone Embrace Chaos, I have sort of locked out the secrecy tree. So if I wanted to make a very secret cult, I would have gone with that. But instead, I'm making a very chaotic one. I can get... what should I do? End is Nigh. The End is Nigh is a new story. So we've added a bunch of new items, buildings, story events, and everything that can be accessed through these religious developments. The End is Nigh occurs when a disciple returns from a mission with 25 or less HP remaining, 25%. And then they get a big buff in their might. That's really cool. So if a disciple barely survives an encounter, they'll actually get stronger. I kind of like that. We've got Mutilate Heretics, which has a really good picture. Turn their bodies into beautiful anarchy for Sexy Chameleon. Plus 20% damage on violent abilities, and summon aberrations. Creatures from the depths, hear us call you in Sexy Chameleon's name, which gives plus 20 damage on weird abilities. I don't know yet. I was gonna do Doomsayers, plus 10% crit chance. That's pretty good. But this allows me to go further down into the tree, so... End is Nigh. I really like End is Nigh. I'm gonna set End is Nigh. I hope it triggers a bunch. Alright, Nekka wants to do a miracle. I'm gonna tell Nekka to go to the storyteller, like I told Aquila, and get their charisma up. I have some materials, so I'm gonna use those to build the offerings stockpile. That way I can collect new offerings. Or should I build the gardens? The gardens allows me to heal my my disciples. Right now, Aquila is looking a little hurt, for example. I'm gonna build the gardens for now. I could also save up for an upgrade. If I can collect 80 materials, I can upgrade my material gatherer so I can get more materials. That seems pretty good too. Seems good to get that early on, so my economy is a lot better. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll save materials for that, actually. Here they are. At the material gatherer talking about skulls. As a good cultist should. And I'm gonna tell... I want that end is nigh. I want to show that off. So I'm gonna tell Kim to... Actually, Kim is gonna gather materials. Or Elo is. So I can get enough materials to buy that upgrade to get more materials. Ulisen has a really good point. Not healing does mean you can trigger End is Nigh more often. I like that a lot. I'm gonna play the risky game here of Godhood. Really gonna make it tough for myself on stream. Elo gathering 30 materials there. That's really nice of her. My people are excited. I could spend another day to gather just a little bit more resources, but if I wait longer, my people will might start doubting my greatness as a god, and that their faith will go down, and I don't want to risk that in the early game, so I'm just gonna go. I'm good. Thanks, Rutger. Alright. I could go to the right here, get some extra materials. I could go fight the final boss of the island. Let's actually see how I could do against that. This guy's weak against nature, so I have a druid to do that, to go up against that. And this guy is weak versus dark, so I actually have a pretty good team to battle the boss here. Let's see what my odds are. Challenging. What if I put... Yeah, it's still challenging. And Akala I'm a little scared to put in, because their health is kind of low. But if they're over here and not fighting the these two powerful disciples, it might be okay. I'm gonna go for a different one for now. I could get a relic or some materials. I'm gonna go for more materials to see my material plan come to fruition. Weak versus nature, so we got my druid for that. Is this gonna work? Two acolytes? Maybe Akala has to come in. I'm gonna put Akala in just to be sure that I can win this and get those materials. It's gonna be a pretty tough fight still. Should I do this? Should I do this? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna save my game before I do this. I'm gonna take the coward's way out. Hey, we're doing it for the stream. Sexy chameleon. Let's make a save. Alright. And oh, this is a different one. Let's go fight those. The material hoarders. Aquala's gonna fight their weak guy, and I'm gonna put one of my brave acolytes up against... Should I do that? No, I'm not gonna... I'm gonna acolyte... Yeah. We got a newbie fighting another newbie, and Akala is gonna have to face this pretty powerful, power level 7 godless... what is the class? I forget. Zealot. The godless zealot. Activate Rick mode, says Leord. Hell yeah, let's go, baby. I hope we do well. Kim uses Nature's Defiance to boost up their morale defense, which is going to be good against these zealots who use morale attacks. Nice. Effective. Big hit. That still did more damage than I would have liked. And that was okay. Alim is nervous because they're a newbie. Come on. Nice. That's another 10 damage. I feel pretty good about this so far. No, Akala. Nice. Oh, that's Alim. Alim was the MVP next or last. Oh, crap. Crap. They have an ability that allows them to perform an extra attack if one of their allies crits. And the weak little ally totally did a crit just now. Come on, Kim. Oh. Woo. I defy you, Leord, in chat. I defy you. I'm gonna win this game my way, which is barely scraping along. Alim leveled up. It's another crow. I have a lot of crow disciples. A lot of knowledge up. I don't just want to get a bunch of druids and cultists. So their charisma is pretty high too, so maybe I'll make them a zealot. Because, yeah, I'll do that. That way I have a divine disciple. Having more elemental types in your team is obviously beneficial. So I'm gonna make a zealot. Nice, converted some new lizards to my weird, sexy chameleon religion. Not enough to get the new religious development though. I'm gonna need another 75 for that. Nice. Nekka told an amazing story of sexy chameleon's exploits to some lizards. That's a really weird sentence. But they told a nice story and they went level up. There we go. And they learn a new ability, Words of Madness. As they should, being a creepy cultist. Now, as you can see, Akala is really hurt. Man, if I had the End is Nigh religious development, Akala would be getting a boost in their stats now. That's too bad. I should get that. I need to build the gardens. It's gonna cost 30. It's gonna leave me with 70, which is not enough to get the upgrade that I wanted. Should I get the upgrade though? Thanks, Dan Onche Gaming. Have fun playing Godhood while we play some Godhood here. I'm gonna upgrade this material gatherer for forest gathering, which means that I collect an extra 10 materials if I send a disciple here. Which is what I'll do. Elo, why don't you go gather some materials? And Alim, why don't you gather some... I could maybe show off one of the boost rituals. And Alim... So, Alim here has the crow totem, which means that when they level up, their knowledge is going to increase because they are a crow. But I made Alim a zealot, which would benefit from having a high charisma. So instead of that, I'm going to use my new boost ritual, send Alim over here, spend 50 offerings to permanently increase their charisma by 1. I could also have them use the storyteller, but it's going to take a little longer. So I'm going to do this for now. And also, I want to show us some of the new stuff, you know. Okay, let's see how they do. So Alim is done. Their charisma is increased by 1. I could have them do the storyteller now. But that way... That's going to cost me 4 time. And in 2 days... In 2 seasons, I should say... The people will want to go on a Sacrament again. And if Alim isn't available, that means I have to send Elo, Nekka, and Kim. I think that could be okay. Alright, Alim is gonna go perform the storytelling miracle. And, oh, this is bad. this is perfect. Elo prays to you. Oh, wise sexy chameleon, when the sacrament comes, please allow me to rest. Yeah, I just said I need to send Elo on a sacrament. And now Elo's faith is dismal because they do not want to go on the sacrament. That's just my luck. Alright, gathered a bunch of materials, so that's nice. Gathered some new worshippers. Maybe I can upgrade that soon, actually, so I can get more lizards. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna send Elo on the sacrament even though they don't want to? Or I could risk sending Akula to a very simple sacrament. These over here, there is only difficulty 4. I'm going up against difficulty 6 encounters, so I'm not too worried about finishing this one. And Akula is strong against nature, so I'm gonna send Akula in, Nekka and Kim. Meanwhile, I'm leaving Elo behind in the holy site to rest up because they pray to me. Please, I don't want to go to the next sacrament. And Alim is still busy working at the storytelling circle to perform their miracle, which levels them up. So they're going to stay home. The odds are certain. Sexy Chameleon is with us. We will convert them. All right. I believe that. I think this is going to be pretty easy. Used up one of my crystal skulls though, and if you remember, if I ever run out of crystal skulls and at that point I lose the sacrament, that means it's game over for me. So I'm gonna have to really, I'm gonna have to build up to defeating the boss in order to reclaim some new crystal skulls so I can continue my game. Awesome. So you saw NECA actually didn't attack the opponent across from them like they normally would. Instead, they attacked the middle opponent. And that's because NECA's knowledge stat is really high. And if someone's knowledge is really high, they can sometimes, instead of attacking whoever is across from them, they can attack their most valuable opponent to the most effective opponent. NECA is a smart boy. And Akala went level up. Nice. Can perform another miracle. Alright, by allowing Elo to rest, I have answered their prayer and they are ready to spread the word of the sexy chameleon yet again. Gathered some more worshippers. I'd like to gather some more though. Alim is still busy at the storytelling circle getting their a miracle in. I'm gonna build the gardens now, which is a building that allows your disciples to recover their HP. And I really am gonna need that. Maybe I shouldn't have put it there. I don't really like that location, but it's okay. And Akola, who is really low health. Ecstatic faith though. They are way into my religion. Oh no. I forgot. Like I said, we have completely overhauled the economy to be a lot more challenging. Healing your disciples now costs 25 ritual offerings, which I don't have. And I also don't have a place to collect new ritual offerings yet, so I'm gonna build the offering stockpile and get some of those in. So Elo, why don't you go over there? Gather some ritual offerings, and also, like I said, if your disciples perform little tasks around the Sacrament, they will get some XP. So Elo is still a lowly acolyte, they're a newbie. It would be good for them to get some experience by gathering ritual offerings. And there we go, Alim told an amazing story of Sexy Chameleon, which is great. That's the best result they could have gotten, and their stats go up. Learn a new ability. Blessing, deal lesser divine morale damage and raise the critical hit chance of all allies. That's cool. Get some crit up. I like that. That skills with devotion though, and yeah, Alim's devotion isn't super high, so maybe I could do something to boost that. Let's see, I can inspire another disciple, so I'm gonna tell Akola... Oh crap, I wanted to tell Akola to heal, but obviously I can't. Maybe I'll tell Akola to gather some lizards. And then I'll leave Akola behind in the next battle while they are gathering resources. That might be okay. But I would like to... Let's see, I need another 45 worshippers in order to reach my next religion development. And if you're just tuning into the stream, hi, thanks for joining us. Religion developments, if you've played Godhood before, is the new system we just added to Godhood, in which you develop your religion in a much more detailed way than before. I am currently playing Sexy Chameleon, a madness god, and I have chosen, by the subtle hints of the chat, to embrace chaos and become a very chaotic god who believes that the end is nigh. That's my current development that I'm working towards, is saying that the end is upon us. So I'm gonna wait one more day in order to have Akala finish gathering new worshippers so I can get those with me on my next Sacrament, and that way I will get that religious development if I win. What a plan. If I could do something that only takes one time, that would be great. I could use this to increase someone's physical defenses, but that costs me some ritual offerings resource, which I don't have right now. If I win the next battle, I've gathered a bunch of ritual offerings and put them in my tribute. If you remember, if I win the battle, if I win the Sacrament, I will win all the contents of my tribute. So, I would really like to win the next fight and get some ritual offerings. I'm gonna tell Elo to gather some materials. Gather some materials. You can never have enough materials. And I'm gonna wait one more day. Oh boy. If you wait too long with going on a sacrament and proving your might and your superiority as a god to your people, they might start doubting you. The lizards talk in hushed tones. It's been so long since Sexy Chameleon showed the sacrament sign. Alim reassures them of your might, but you feel a growing doubt in her heart. So Alim is growing doubtful of my... And their faith has gone down to neutral. Not great. So you can see here the people are impatient to go on the sacrament. So let's go do that. I'm gonna leave Akala home. So while we are going off to the sacrament, Akala, why don't you go to the miracle storyteller like everybody else? Get your charisma stat up, baby. Level up. Let's see. So, my long-term goal, or short-term goal really, is to defeat the elders over here. Get some new crystal skulls. Every time that I go on a mission, I will sacrifice one of my crystal skulls. I have 4 right now. And when I run out of crystal skulls and I lose one of the battles, I lose the game. So I want those crystal skulls, and I want to defeat these pesky elders. I don't think right now is the time to go, because Akala is pretty low health. Once I've managed to heal up Akala, I think that's when I'm going to make my move and try to defeat the elders. Let's see. Weak versus divine. That's cool, because I have a divine disciple now. Alim is a zealot. Let's see. The ancestral enemies deal more damage to life, so I don't have to worry about that. This is going to be a challenge according to the... Should I take that risk? Should I take that risk? Oh, no pain, no gain. Rutger, should I go for this challenging encounter, or should I do an easier one?
Are you going to defy Leord or not?
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Am I going to defy Leord on this one? This is such a tough choice. So if I win this, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to get a ton of resources, a relic, which is a special item, and it's just going to be good altogether. If I lose, it's going to be bad because I wasted essentially one of my 4 crystal skulls. Should I roll the dice? Should I save?
We're totally going to lose this one.
I'm totally going to lose this?
Absolutely.
Rutger says, I'm totally going to lose this one. Absolutely, he says. Thanks, Rutger. Rutger's an expert at video games. Oh, this is cool. If I beat this one, it says that all my disciples receive +1 experience points. So maybe I could use this to get some XP. And it's going to be an easy encounter. Let's do this. It's still going to be challenging, actually. Alright. Let's do this. Let's get some XP. Let's not put... Okay, I'm not going to be too risky on this one. 3 crystal skulls left, everybody. If I run out of crystal skulls, I have a chance to lose the game if I lose one of the battles. Outfall says, I want that relic. I do too. Ah. When we've got some questions coming in from chat. Thanks for sending in your questions, everybody. If you have questions, send them in and we'll get to them. I just opened up a tab that allows me to see your questions. Wendek asks, can we have the detailed formula for the knowledge thing? Or is that kind of stuff something that you want to keep hidden? Let me actually go over to... Yeah! We got a new development! The end is nigh. Let me show you what the I actually don't know 100% sure what the game tells you about knowledge. The end is nigh. This time it's gonna happen for real! Definitely not a dig at end of the world conspiracy theorists. Let me actually take a look. So knowledge says a chance to pick an optimal target in Sacrament instead of directly across it also poses enemies chance to do this. So basically, yeah, the exact formula isn't in there. I'm sure if you like people updating the wiki will get to that. But how it actually works is your disciple's knowledge is compared to the opponent's that is across from him knowledge, and if it is sufficiently higher than the opponent's knowledge, every time that they attack, there's a chance that they sort of slip by that opponent and instead attack a more optimal target. So you kind of want to try and put your high knowledge characters up against low knowledge characters, which some classes are, like a Rage Prophet is generally an idiot. That could be a good way to slip by their defenses, shall we say. Thanks for your question. Brit Thulu asks, are the talent shards still a thing? They are. As you can see, the Sunstone here is still in play. If you reach God level 6, you unlock that building. It takes a little bit longer to get it now, because there is just a lot more stuff to do in the early game than previously. But you can use those to level up your disciples in a more specific way by teaching them specific abilities. It's time to pick another religious development. I have unlocked these two, Erratic Teachings and God of Chaos. God of Chaos unlocks a Temple of Madness, which is a new miracle, I believe. Pretty cool. Erratic Teachings, new initiates will have a 25% chance to gain the Erratic buff. Small chance to randomly use Erratic Violence. Deals physical damage based on might, with tags of weird and violent. So Erratic Teachings means that sometimes your characters are going to use weird and violent abilities, so that'd be really good if I got Summon Aberrations, for example, which says plus 20% damage on weird abilities. So that would be a pretty good combo with Erratic Teachings. So I'm not going to go for that. Instead, I'm going to go for Doomsayers. The presence of Sexy Chameleon brings a joyous despair. Which gives plus 10% crit chance for all my Dark Disciples. I currently have 2 Dark Disciples, my 2 Cultists. So that might be pretty good. Actually, I'm gonna go for Summon Aberrations. Both Cultists and Druids have a lot of weird abilities, so they're gonna do more damage if I go for this. And I'm gonna get to summon some Aberrations, which is fun. Alright. Hey, Elo leveled up from gathering resources. They are the dog. They have a talent for might. I could either make them a Beast Walker or a Rage Prophet. I don't have an Ancestral Disciple yet, so I'm gonna go for a Rage Prophet. There we go. I'm gonna tell someone to do something. Akala needs to heal, man. But she's still busy telling stories and stuff. I could boost someone's charisma by 1 point. Let me think. I have 4 disciples. Oh, in 1 day I'm gonna be able to recruit new disciples. That's pretty awesome. Ooh. Choices. I can always cancel everything. That's kind of the thing. Maybe what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get that relic, right? And for that I'm gonna be fighting a bunch of Rage Prophets, which are really powerful melee attackers. So maybe it would be good for me to use the symbol of physical armor here to get plus 10% or plus 10 physical armor for the next mission. It's gonna cost me 10 offerings, but that's okay. So who's gonna go? Alim is gonna go. So I'm gonna give Alim plus 10% or plus 10 physical armor when they fight those Rage Prophets. There Alim goes to train and pray for my blessings. Nice. So they did that. Alim's boosted up, as you can see here. Physical armor boost. Good job, Alim. I have some materials. Maybe I can build a new building. Pledging altar gives my disciples more faith. The study allows them to gain extra miracle XP in battles if I want to level them up faster. I think I'm going to build a second miracle. I have one miracle right now, this miracle of storytelling. But each disciple can only perform every miracle one time. Most of my disciples have already performed the miracle of storytelling. So I'm going to build a prayer site where my disciples can improve their devotion stat. Devotion is important because it increases your resistance to morale attacks. And I have a couple of disciples that their attacks actually scale off devotion. I'm going to put it right here. Bloop. And why doesn't Kim go ahead and increase their devotion? Maybe? No, I don't want to spend those. I don't want to spend those resources. Kim is going to go gather some materials. They're not going to go along on the next battle, but they'll go along on the one after that. Another wondrous story. Good job, Akola. We got a question from SC Terran Marine 14, who asks, are we able to get more than one commandment? You are. When you level up enough, you will be able to unlock a second commandment, and with that, its entire commandment tree will be open to you. And I hope we'll get deep enough to also show you our first religious tenet. Otherwise, I can load up a later game, save game, to show you what religious tenets are, because that is another type of religious tree that you can unlock in order to further define your religion. Pretty neat stuff. Alright, let me make a plan here. I've got 3 crystal skulls. I'm gonna go get me a relic. That's the goal. Alim is a divine disciple, more powerful against these ancestral disciples. So Alim goes in. Oh, should probably turn off the Slack notification sound. Sorry about that. There we go. So Alim is in. Whew. Elo, maybe Elo. Fight a Rage Prophet with a Rage Prophet. Kim is going to stay home. And Akola, I would like Akola to heal up, preferably. So maybe I'll send Neka in. This is going to be a tough fight. Maybe if Akola is here. If I put Akola in, the game tells me it's possible. If I take Akola out, the game says it's going to be challenging. With Elo, Elo is super low level. Little baby. So I'm going to send Akola in. He's 30 out of 50 HP. But I'm going to heal him up after this anyway. So let's roll the dice. This is definitely not going to go wrong. Rage Prophets are really scary. They take a lot of damage, but they also deal a lot of damage. So... Kuyahe. Outfall says, you can do it, I want that relic. Outfall, I agree. Damn, critical hits, Alim. Oh my god, look at this, all these crits. Oh, that's awesome. Wow. So, Neka scored a critical hit. Alim has a passive ability because she is a zealot. They always have this passive ability. Anytime an ally scores a critical hit, they get to attack. So, Neka scored a crit, and then Alim got in there and finished them off. That was easy. That was great. Got some more worshippers and a common relic, some resources. Let's see what this relic is all about. I'm gonna get a dark relic, obviously. So, Neka, MVP, bless my relic. What is it gonna be? The Flower of Charisma. That's not bad. +1 Charisma on a miracle. That's not bad. Charisma is a good stat for a speaker-based religion like my own. I'm gonna put the Flower of Charisma over here on the storytelling circle, because storytelling boosts your charisma. Boom. More charisma for everybody. And I can recruit some new disciples. So let's see who is ready to enter the religion of the sexy chameleon. Hey, we have our first chaotic disciple, Mary, here. And remember, we get chaotic disciples because we chose to become a chaotic god. They have the Twitcher as totem, which has a major knowledge buff and a good cunning buff. So pretty good, actually. A lot better than the starting totems that I was getting. So I'm definitely gonna initiate them. I'll leave it at that for now. Let's see. Akala is gonna go heal up. Cost me 25 of my offerings, but that's okay. And then Kim is still collecting materials. That's fine. Alright, I'm gonna prepare to do the boss battle. Let's see. Nature. Weak versus dark. So we want Akala up against that. Divine, weak versus nature, so we want Kim, our druid, up against them. And then we've got an acolyte here. So probably Alim, maybe? Alim is weak versus nature. There is a chance that this stubborn elder is gonna fight Alim, which would be bad. But I'm not sure that Elo is my best choice here. Maybe Nekka would actually be good. Got 2 cultists. That might actually be okay. This is going to be my team. After Akala is done healing. Oh no! Healing takes her 3 seasons. And I'm going to want to fight in 2 seasons. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Mary is a newbie, so why doesn't Mary go collect some resources and level up? That seems good. Is there anything I can build with my... I could build the symbol of mental fortitude and increase people's defenses. That might not be bad. I'm going to save up my materials for an upgrade on one of my buildings. Alright, Mary. Mary is a newbie, so I'm going to tell Mary to go gather some more materials. And new to this update, if your disciples gather resources, they also gain XP. Let's go through some seasons here. Gonna watch our disciples tell stories to one another. Alright, they're excited. But if I wait one more day, then Akala will be ready to go. So I'm gonna take that risk. My people may start doubting my religion if I do this. They do. Mary reassures them of my might. But Mary starts doubting in me too. That's fine. Mary is a newbie. It's a little bit too bad. But I can deal with that. Let's go do it, Rutger. Let's go fight the final boss. Akala is darkness. Deals more damage versus nature. Goes up against them. They are divine. So Kim, nature, goes up against my divine enemy. Kim also, because they are a druid, are really effective against raising their morale armor. For example, wisdom here raises morale armor and when they cast that ability. This is my biggest worry here, the stubborn elder in the middle. So putting my high morale defense character up against them seems like a good idea. And I'm either going to put in Alim or Nekka. I'm going to put in Nekka because Alim is weak against this druid here. The game tells me it's possible. Let's go for it. Thanks everybody for watching us do this little stream here. I hope you are enjoying taking a look at all the new stuff that's in Godhood. We're only scratching the surface here. There are multiple new mechanics, completely new rebalanced game economy, new buildings, new story events, and maybe most importantly the nice critical hit, Most importantly, the ability for you to define your religion and create your own religion using religious developments. Nice! Akala jumps in front and defies that ability. Neka, doing okay. Oh, Entangle is a crappy ability to be used because that means that Akala is going to be entangled in the next turn. This is going to cut it real close here. I hope Akala can act. They do. They're not entangled. Alright, I got it. 21 damage. I beat the first boss. I beat the elders. Really happy about that. Nice. I've long heard tales of the faraway people of Quetzalcoatl. We must travel far to spread our religion. We've gone level up, we've gotten a bunch of resources, the most important of which is that we gathered 5 crystal skulls. Crystal skulls are a new resource for this update. They add a significant amount of challenge, difficulty, and they make the game just a lot more... they require you to make more strategic choices, because every time you go on a sacramental battle, you sacrifice a single crystal skull. If you ever run out of crystal skulls and you lose a battle, you lose the game. Alright, this is really exciting what's coming up. We have just leveled up and unlocked our first religious tenet. I was telling you about them before, but religious tenets are another new game system that we added to Godhood. Commandments are a thing that you pick to sort of pick the big topics of what your religion is about, of what your religion has an opinion on. For example, like war or lust, or what we picked for this playthrough, madness. Tenets are smaller and more detailed ways for you to sort of express what your religion is all about. There's 2 tenets in the game right now. During one playthrough, you can gain one of these 2 tenets, but we have a lot of ideas to add more tenets, and I'm sure you guys will too when you start playing with these tenets, thinking about actual religions in the world and how they could be reflected in Godhood. The 2 tenets that are available right now are animism, commune with the natural spirits around you. Animals are your best friend. We want to pick this if we want to become a more like nature-oriented god. On the other hand, we have funeral rites. What does the afterlife look like? Do you grieve over the dead? This is something that you can pick if you think that, like, the ancient Egyptians who created like elaborate tombs and for their dead, or ancient Aztec cannibalism practices. If you think that kind of stuff is super interesting, you want to pick funeral rites, and then your religion, you can start making decisions about how are dead bodies taken care of? Do we bury them? Do we burn them? Do we eat them? Things like that. So what, I don't know. Chat, do you have any suggestions? Animism? Are we gonna worship nature and animals and stuff? Or funeral rites? Are we gonna go for burying our dead maybe? Or eating them? A little bit more morbid, but I don't know yet. I'm leaning towards animism because I am a chameleon god. We can actually do a little preview here. So, this is a nice way to actually take a look at all the different commandment trees as well. Funeral rites, we can start by deciding, do people anticipate when they die an afterlife? Or are they content with that being the end of their journey? And what that does is actually what's really cool about funeral rites is every time that one of your disciples dies of old age, you get to bury them, and your disciple then gets to, it says here, they get to pick a successor who receives the legacy buff. And based on the disciple that just died, based on their stats, their successor is going to get a big bonus. So that's really cool. And it sort of emphasizes generational gameplay. So it's going to give you a lot more like long-term gain. Whereas animism, which is also pretty cool, every time that you perform a herder's hut, hunter's lodge, or farmlands miracle, so all the sort of natural miracles, you the nature spirit story occurs, which grants you materials based on this disciple's health. So animism is a really good way to get more materials and build more stuff. In addition, you're going to be able to, if you pick animism, worship cats. And who doesn't want that? And if you worship cats, little cats will start walking around your religious site. And that's great. You can also worship dogs if you want dogs to walk. If you're more of a dog person, I'm going to be honest, I am. I would probably exalt dogs instead, so that dogs can start walking around my religious site. You can do a bunch of stuff. You can put a special spirit tree in your holy site that people can pray to deal more nature damage. You can start raising your disciples in the wild, which will give them a new ability, erratic violence. So it's really cool. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff here. I think I'm going to go with animism, though, because I am a chameleon god. So I'm going to go and worship nature. So once I get to pick a new religious development, instead of just buying religious developments from the madness tree, I can also get them from the animism tree over here. So I can start exalting dogs or cats, etc. Alright, with that out of the way, let's keep playing. Because we beat this god over here, the enemy boss, we get access to a second island, which is home to Bountiful Tlaloc, an enemy god who is much more powerful than the first. The game's world map has been completely revamped, is a lot more challenging, and generally, I think, a lot more exciting. We have, just to sort of go over it, we have completely rebalanced the game's economy to be more challenging, give you a lot more options, but also more difficult options, because you're gonna have less time to prepare for everything, gather resources, manage to keep up your crystal skulls, essentially, because if you run out of crystal skulls and you lose a fight, you lose the game. However, if you just want to chill out, we have also added new difficulty modes to Godhood. You could play Serene mode, in which case you do not lose the game if you lose a battle without crystal skulls. So, that's really cool. Let's see. Two of my disciples, Kim and Elo, are ready to perform miracles. I will say, I think we're going to start probably winding down the stream a little bit. We've been streaming for an hour. I hope you guys have gotten a good idea of all the... Well, there's a lot more, but I hope you've gotten a good idea, at least, of the ways in which Godhood has changed. Where we had the Create Your Own Religion milestone update, the newest update for Godhood in early access, is a milestone update because of the new systems that allow you to put a lot more specific details in creating your religion. There's a lot more strategy and choices for you to make. I love this. My little guys are all paranoid looking around because I'm a madness god. Your villages now look very different depending on what kind of god you are. If you are a war god, your villagers start building barricades everywhere and things like that. I haven't even scratched the surface, guys. There's so much more in these trees. Unique buildings, unique random story events that can trigger. Yes, there are random stories now, finally. If you are a war god, which I really like here, I'll show you. Let me switch over. If you can, if you look down at here in the war tree, there is a thing called Take War Captives. If you do that, your religion starts taking captives when they beat them, and those captives will passively generate sometimes offerings and materials for you. However, there is sometimes a random chance that they'll throw an uprising, in which case one of your disciples has to stop it. So that's all really, like, there's just a lot more weird stuff in the game now, which I really enjoy personally when I play Godhood. We're still working on summoning aberrations. Let's keep playing for a little bit here as we wind down the chat. If you have any questions, about Godhood in general, or about the new update, Create Your Own Religion, be sure to drop them in chat and we'll get to them. And thanks for joining us on this stream anyway. It's been a blast so far. Let's see. What am I doing? What the heck am I doing? Kim, we have a new miracle building to get our devotion up. It would be really good for a druid, so I'm gonna tell Kim to do that. I have a lot of materials, 230. Let's see if there's any buildings I want to construct. The study could be really good. So that way I can send my disciples there to study and get their experience up. I could get some upgrades. Let's see. I would like to get more worshippers quicker. So I'm going to, for 120 materials, buy automatic followers plus +5 passive lizard gain. So that means that just passively, my worshippers will be attracting new worshippers to my religion a lot quicker. That's really nice. That's good. Still have 140, so maybe I'll increase my... my ritual gain? Sounds pretty good. I'd rather make a new building, I think. I'm gonna build that study I was talking about, so I can train up my disciples a little bit. I'm gonna put it over here. There's a lot of new art assets. So the study is an older building that was in the game before. Just like all the other buildings, it has been completely revamped and rebalanced, and it also looks a lot nicer. There's a lot of new art assets to really make your religion come to life in the game now. Mary. I'm going to send Mary over here to get some XP. It actually doesn't cost any ritual offerings right now, but the more often you send a disciple over to the study, the more expensive it's going to be to use it for that disciple alone. So that's a new mechanic as well. There you go. Mary is studying. Kim is telling stories. So if I wanted to send Mary again, it would cost me 25 ritual offerings. Which might not even be a horrible deal, to be honest. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to build some farmlands for Elo to perform a miracle. Elo is a rage prophet who really benefits off having a high might stat. And there's no better way to increase your might than by working on the farm. Toiling away. So I'm going to build a farm over a little bit out of the way of my main site. Here. There you go. Nice little farm. I'm going to send Elo over here to level up and increase their might. There goes Elo running along. Very nice. Someone asked, Vezudu asks, can you exalt both dogs and cats? Sadly, you can't. As we all know, you are either a dog person or a cat person. There is no in between. Because, as you can see here, between exalt dogs and cats is a line with a red exclamation mark. That means that these two options are mutually exclusive. If you pick cats, you cannot pick dogs, and vice versa. There's some other ones here, because I picked summon aberrations in the madness tree. I cannot get mutilate heretics, which is too bad, because I really like that little image over there. And depending on your religion, you're going to be making different choices about this kind of stuff. For example, if you are a chastity religion, you can start developing to either allowing only arranged marriages, or to allow for open marriages where anybody can marry whoever they love. And those have different benefits depending on, that actually makes your disciples hook up in different ways and get stat bonuses and stuff. It's really fun. There's so much weird, fun stuff to talk about. Actually, maybe what I'll do before I'll stop here is I'll quickly just start up another game with another commandment just to take a look at their commandment tree. That might be fun. Sexy chameleon. First island. Save my game. Lord Ubiquitous asks, question about the crystal skulls. Can you gain more during the game? Or do they act as a sort of lives mechanic? They do sort of act like a lives mechanic, sort of. If you run out, you don't necessarily lose. But if you run out and you lose a sacrament, you actually lose the game. So it becomes really tense if you run out of crystal skulls. And there are ways to gain new crystal skulls. Right now, the primary way, there isn't anyone on the map right now, but maybe if I cheat a little bit, I can show you. Turn on the world map cheats with my little developer console. Here, I've got the whole world map unlocked now, and as you can see, there are some nodes, like these two here, where you can win new crystal skulls if you convert the people of that land. I'm not going to give away too much of the world map here. You're going to have to play the game to discover what else the world map has to offer for you. Alright, let's quit to the main menu and start ourselves a new game as a different god real quick. New game. Just to show it off, you know, I could play a serene game on easy difficulty, and at that point, if you just want to relax and play Godhood and you don't want to worry about the crystal skulls being a sort of timing mechanic, you can play serene mode, and as it says, you won't lose the game if you run out of crystal skulls, and you can save anytime you want. With ambitious, you only get a single save file, which is fun, and you will also lose the game once you run out of crystal skulls. So, if you are in it for the challenge, I say you play on ambitious mode, you ambitious son of a gun. Otherwise, check out serene mode and just chill out with Godhood's chill vibes. Let's see. I'm just gonna roll up a random god here. There's the ugliest god I can get. This one's really weird. Oh god, this is terrible. This one I actually like. This is pretty awesome looking. Yeah, I'm kind of into this. Lord Ubiquitous says, thanks for the sneak peek. It's actually not a sneak peek, Lord Ubiquitous. We have just launched this update, Create Your Own Religion, live for Godhood in Early Access. The Early Access is not over. We are going to continue developing Godhood as we continue based on the feedback that you have about this update. So we would love to hear what you think as we continue along. Godhood will only continue to grow more expansive, more interesting, give you more options for religious development, etc. What do we want to take a look at? Take a look at the War Tree, Peace Tree. Chastity is really fun. Lust is really fun and weird. I kind of like Lust. Maybe we should take a look at Lust. Or Chastity. Let's take a look at Lust. Let's make a weird Lust god. If you pick Lust, then that means that your worshippers, as you can see, are like, even our little holy site already looks a little bit different. So we got some nice cushions up. Got people talking about fruits, or vegetables, I should say. And let's take a look at the religion development tree for Lust. You start off Lust by either picking to embrace loving passion or pursue endless pleasure. So basically, do you want your Lust religion to be about like passionate love and sort of getting what you want, or about pleasure and about, you know, as you can see here, release primal desires or seek relaxation, things like that. Whereas, you know, when you go for loving passion, it becomes a lot more about like love and passion and things like that. You can start Lover's Day, which is like a Valentine's Day in your religion. 25% chance that Lover's Day occurs at the beginning of each year. Grants a disciple a charisma buff and a small devotion buff. So that's really fun. You've got like a chance that there is like a little festival, and one of your disciples gets a bonus. Opposites attract, which has one of my favorite images, where your new initiates can start getting like weird buffs based on whatever, opposites attracting. Fire of Passion gives you a special relic that you can only get if you become a passionate lust god. The Thorny Rose, chance to attack back when an ally gets hit during a sacrament. That's pretty nice. Nice, yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff. I would like to leave for you guys, if you play Godhood, to explore the different religious development trees yourself and see what's going on in them. New initiates will have a 25% chance to gain the Primal Desires buff. That sounds good. Let's quickly start let me take a look at one more religious development tree. I want to take a look at Chastity, and then I think we'll call this this stream here, where we just scratched the surface of all the new stuff in Godhood. This is kind of an awesome god or goddess. Weird, evil jellyfish god. I'm gonna take a look at Chastity. Just a quick sneak peek before you start playing your own Chastity religion in Godhood. When you become a Chastity god, you can choose to either aspire to purity, in which case your religion becomes a lot about, like, you could go for fasting, getting your very own unsullied, like, eunuchs style disciples. And you can also choose between either love marriages or arranged marriages. A disciple will go into marriage when reaching an age of 25, allowing it to attract a suitor and a stat boost. An arranged marriage has a higher chance to have more suitors, and there's always a suitor to boost health. Whereas love marriages, your disciples can also marry, but they have the option of chasing their true love, which has a chance of succeeding or failing. And if they succeed, depends on the disciple's charisma. If they succeed, they get a really big devotion bonus and a permanent faith buff. So I really like those kinds of decisions of whether your religion, goes for arranged marriages or allows for people to pursue their true loves. I really like those kinds of choices. If you become a god of serenity, however, it's all about clearing your mind, like a little Buddhism, like you become a god of what do you call that? I forgot my word.
I was not following.
Meditation. You become a god of meditation and clearing your mind and things like that. You can tame the abyss to get extra damage on dark abilities. The good man. Oh yeah, your disciples can find virtue and get extra damage on divine abilities. You can't do both. Either you become very divine or you tame the abyss. This great image, awakening. Those who meditate can fight enlightenment. Things like that. That's cool. After a disciple performs a meditation miracle, all rituals cost no ritual offerings that day. So you can have your disciples meditate and then perform a really expensive ritual, because for them it will be free, because they're free of their minds, I guess. Yeah, man, there's a lot to go here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at Godhood's very first milestone update, create your own religion, in which you can, as I hope we've taken a look at here, really, truly start crafting your own religion. With the religious developments, have greater challenge, more options, and generally a more exciting and difficult game of Godhood, if you so choose. Working through the extended world map and interacting with the completely overhauled new economy, new buildings, and new everything, new recruitment system, and everything. I will say, if you are interested in reading up on specifics, if you go over to community.abbeygames.com, you will get to our community forums. In there we have a topic. I can actually open it up real quick. We have a topic in which we go into a lot more detail on all these systems. You can also take a look at screenshots of all the different development trees, which is really nice. Here it is. Over here. Oop, there it is. So if you want to, read a lot about all the details of new stuff that is up in the updates, you can go over to community.abbeygames.com. And what you can also do while you're there, and I hope you all compete in the very first community contest. Because for 1 week, until next week's October 31st, next Thursday, the Create Your Own Religion community contest will be open for everybody that is playing Godhood. If you want to join, you can join in one of two challenges, either the Supremacy contest or the Grandiosity contest. In Supremacy, we challenge you to get the biggest, most expansive religion and get as many worshippers and crystal skulls in a playthrough as possible. I hope to see all you all that are up for a challenge compete here. For the Grandiosity contest, we challenge you to create a fascinating, dazzling religion and tell us a little story. Play a game of Godhood, pick your religious developments, pick a cool tenet, and write us a little story about your religious history and beliefs. Doesn't have to be too long, can be a short story, short little description. What kind of religion did you choose to build in Godhood? And Abbey Games' discerning monks will pick a winner. If you win one of these two challenges, you can get some exclusive Godhood content that before this was only up for people who were backing the Kickstarter at certain Kickstarter reward tiers. So, some neat stuff. Thanks so much either way for checking out this stream. I hope you had as much fun as I did defeating the elders and creating the religion of the Sexy Chameleon. Keep an eye out at Godhood's development as we will continue to develop forward. There is a topic on our community forums about which has details on our roadmap. I recommend you check it out if you're curious to see where we're going from here. For now, I'm gonna bid you a good night. Have fun playing Create Your Own Religion if you do own Godhood. And I really am excited to see what kind of religions you guys come up with, what kind of weird gods you create, what kind of strange disciples emerge out of your religion. I'm Rick, here for Abbey Games, playing Godhood's first milestone update, Create Your Own Religion. Thank you so much. Have a good night. See you around. Peace.